Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, and if you haven't come here before and Walker Tea Review is new to you, I'm about pure natural teas. No added ingredients, even if they're natural fruits or berries or anything like that. Just pure plain teas. Thinking about just as wines have their own characteristics, their own growers of vineyards, producers, tea growers, tea producers, they all put their special care, their own craft, their own skill into creating teas, and that's why we look at teas as they display their natural best. So we're going to be preparing this tea a little bit differently than the way that we usually do. I'm going to get out my cup here, or my steeping pitcher. I want to pour the water directly into the pitcher so you can see the tea as it kind of steeps and dances around. This is a PremBiLuoChun, a Chinese tea, and we're going to have to talk about the dry leaf as we're adding it to our pitcher here. First thing, I'm going to take a sniff and get a little bit of note on the dry leaf, and I'll come back and introduce this tea a little more carefully. I mean, what I'm getting off the dry leaf right now, there's a combination of kind of a water chestnut and a little bit of kind of a bean sprout type of smell. So there's a lot of fresh, sweet, a little bit of starchy kind of smell going on here. So I'm gonna sprinkle that in. I want to give enough to bring out enough flavor, so I'm going to put in a pinch more there, and we'll leave the rest of that. I'm not going to fill this up with water, but I'm going to put in enough water. Let me get this out of the way so that you can see. I want it strong, but not too strong. I want enough water so that this will dance around in there. This pitcher, if I recall correctly, it's going to hold around 8 ounces, and you see here I've put in probably about 2 ounces of water, roughly, But you're going to see that those will kind of swirl around. You're going to be able to see those kind of dancing in the water there. Actually, a few of them are dancing, but what you're noticing about those leaves, and I should have made this point already, looking at your dry leaf. Let's go ahead and go back for just a second and look at this dry leaf while it's steeping there. We do have a little bit more time, but these are very fuzzy. There's a lot of silvery color, golden color of the fuzz of the down on these little tips. They're very fine. They're very small. Actually, let's see. Yeah, I'm getting sets here. This is more than one bud, or maybe 2 little buds or needles together, very close in many cases. You're getting, like I said, golden yellows, fuzzy, kind of a silvery color, light on that aspect, and you're getting some kind of dull greens in there as well. The dull greens from the toasting process, it's kind of like maybe close to a basket type firing, something that requires a little bit of handwork, a little bit of skill in actually using your hands to work these teas carefully. Not a pan fire like you would see with a dragon well. Okay. But as we're talking, let me go and make a note, because we're still going to let this steep just a little bit more. This is from GrandTea. This is their PremBiLuoChun. You can find 25 grams, currently available for $5.50. Okay, so GrandTea is based in China. They specialize in Chinese teas. They have a Hong Kong address, but because of their closeness, their proximity to the mainland, Yet and his team are traveling back and forth, sourcing teas directly in China. So that's an added aspect, a bonus of getting teas there. You may also want to check out their pu'er collection. Yet has been expanding their pu'er collection, and I'm actually scheduled to be reviewing some more of his pu'ers very soon. Okay, so, but without much more delay, we are going to pour this. I thought it would be useful to also show my strainer here. It's got a fine mesh gauze here on the bottom that's going to filter out any very small particles, and of course those leaves, those larger leaf portions as well. But that's a nice, good color in there as well. Let's go ahead and talk about this color before I pour it. That is a pale golden color. There's a lot of down floating around in there as well. Rich aromas also. Steamed green bean is coming off. Okay. This is going to be a monster to try to describe. Put tags on this video, I should say, but that's okay. So the advantage, of course, there you've got all of your liquor right there. Got a nice stand for your strainer here. We'll push that off to the side, and of course we've caught some leaves in there. But now we're able to get in. Now, I should point out our wet leaf is going to smell the same way our liquor did. Not a lot of distinction there, so I'm not going to even really touch on that part anymore. I am going to scoop out a few of these leaves here, just so that I can look at those a little more carefully. Get out my nice saucer here, so that I have a place to rest these. And I'm just kind of looking a little bit at the leaf sets, or these little leaves that are available here. Let me set that right there. Is this going to pull apart? Yes, this is actually more than one leaf. These are very fine leaves. We're talking about half an inch or so, less than an inch. I'm looking for sets as well, any kind of pairs, but mostly I'm getting individual leaves here. Nice bright kind of a green-yellow color. Let me see. I see some that, yeah, here we go. There's a nice leaf and bud pair. So that, without picking out even more, that should be enough to really get to represent this tea. Tender leaves, small, green-yellow in color, and some sets. Okay. Now, moving on, we're going to be able to get to our liquor pretty quickly now. Should have had sufficient time to cool as it was in the pitcher. A lot of steam. In a pitcher like this, you have an interesting way to display the tea, so to speak, because everybody can kind of see it dancing around in there. And then, of course, the steam, the heat, rises out much quickly. It's not covered. It's not trapped. So by the time you pour it, it's cooler as well. Okay, the thing about PremBiLuoChun, PremBiLuoChun means something like, let's see, green, snail, spring, literally, roughly. That's a translation. But anyway, PremBiLuoChun, compared to a lot of other green teas, it can have higher levels of astringency. This one, however, is lower on the astringency scale compared to other PremBiLuoChuns. So that's a positive note already going on here. There is a vegetal sweetness here as well, and what I'm picking up is something kind of like a sweet, fresh wax bean. So there's a positive note going there. Again, a little bit of that kind of bean sprout note coming out also. So it's a nice blend of those two. The texture is, I would say, it's lightly brothy. It's not. So it's got more than a silken. It's got a little bit more heft to it than that. The aftertaste carries on, continues to give a kind of sweet, lightly sweet coating on the mouth, especially around the tongue and the sides of the mouth, under the tongue as well. That's where it's really starting to well up. Is this kind of sweet saliva pooling under there. So it gives this juicy feel to it as well. Aftertaste carries on pretty well. I mean, it's not a heavy aftertaste, but it's a continued aftertaste. I would say that. Okay, so aftertaste. Let's see. You talked about the aromas. Looking at this tea as a whole, I want to give this tea a pretty high score. I'm going to give this tea an 89. It's got a lot of positive qualities to it. Like I said, it's milder in the astringency than compared to other BiLuoChuns. It's got a sweet note that it can be harder to find with other BiLuoChuns, but this one does have a lot of those desired components to it. Okay, the aftertaste. I thought the aftertaste, as I said, was extended, but not as deep, not as strong as it could have been, and that's affected by the season, the growing environment rather, and to some extent the processing that the tea goes through as well, and possibly the age of the tea as well. This one looks like a spring harvest of 2010. It looks like a very new tea. No specific printed information here on my package. Check online for those specific. When provided, GrandTeas will give information on when that tea was harvested. So come back and enjoy teas with us or with me here at Walker Tea Review. Perhaps you want to explore different preparation methods as we did here as well, and that's something that you'll find here with me here at Walker Tea Review.